All right, welcome. Thanks everybody for joining us here on the Let Me Talk to My Customer podcast from Counts Business Consulting. I'm your host, Chad Counts, along with my co-host, Richard Tyler. Rich, how you doing this week?
Doing great.
You able to get everything in on this short Labor Day week here?
I always say the best thing about a 3-day weekend is a 4-day work week.
Oh, man. I hate a 4-day work week, man. It just never seems like enough time. I always feel like I just end up extending the hours and still end up working 5 days worth of time anyways, at least. So we're just happy out here to not be on fire in California, in my neck of the woods, at least. We have power, we have internet. So things that typically don't have to worry too much about being a blessing is great to have this week. So hope everyone out there is staying safe and staying well, and that you guys were able to have a wonderful Labor Day. So we're excited. We've been running our closing sales series and our new salesperson series this week. This past 3 weeks, it's been going very well. We've been seeing good results with the customers we're working with there. We have very limited space now on our sales management and sales training programs. So any of you who are looking to end the year with a bang, please reach out to us soon if you're looking to take advantage of those services. We continue to see tremendous results in increasing invoice per hour, close rates, brokering percentages, broker profit, you name it. We've been having a really good year. So we're very pleased and blessed to work with some great customers. And it's always good for you guys as well. Let your customers know how much you appreciate them. It's always good to be able to do that. So thanks for hanging in there with us. And if you would, please like or rate the podcast, subscribe, wherever you're finding us. Hit the like button on YouTube if you're watching on there. It's always great for us to see that interaction, see what content you guys are appreciating and what you're liking. I also post this on LinkedIn every week as well, if that's another place you're looking to find it too. So, okay. This week's episode, Everything is Selling Part 2, we're going to be taking on positivity and battling, or I guess maintaining positivity and battling negative thoughts, or what Zig Ziglar calls stinking thinking, to get a little country with you guys. So I think this is something that is a battle no matter where you're at, no matter what aspect of your life you find yourself in, and also in terms of whether it be personal or work or what have you, this is something that affects us all. So kind of the main framework or the main problems we're going to be addressing are, how can I, they fall along these thoughts. So how can I maintain a positive attitude when I'm headed home after a bad day at work? How can I maintain a positive attitude at work when I'm coming to work and, things aren't going well at home, things are stressful or not good at home? How can I maintain a positive attitude within work when I have a bad credit or a bad interaction with the customer or something goes wrong, right? So these are things that we can all relate to, and we can all see that there's an influence both within work and outside of work. And so it stands to reason that this selling mentality, these selling objectives that we're trying to achieve would overflow into other areas of our life. And really our success in being able to battle those effectively or be able to maintain the type of mindset that we need for success, those sorts of skills and habits need to be practiced inside work, outside of work, in the other areas of our life. So the main thing we're going to take on today is focusing on what we can control. And the two arenas that we're going to spend our time today emphasizing are on the mental health side and the physical health side. Those are two things that everyone, we always want everybody to have, right? I want you to have good mental health. I want you to have good physical health. If you can achieve those two things, the likelihood that you can be successful with whatever you're facing is tremendously. So
Sure.
in terms of focusing on what we can control, let me zoom out here and bring Rich in. for a salesperson in our industry, focusing on what we can control, what do you see as the main torpedoes or landmines that really sink our ability to focus on what we can control? What are those main things that you see sales professionals struggle with to maintain that focus on what they control?
Sure. I think you already mentioned what is a big one, and that is when any salesperson has a bad credit day.
Mm,
I feel like credits come, and sometimes they come and it's a credit monster,
yeah,
And I'm a very big proponent of the mantra of, okay, what is it that we can control? What is it within our control? And then also learning from those situations. If there was nothing that we could control, if it was a part that went bad, hey, used parts go bad,
yeah, yeah.
So not to really not to take those on the chin,
Sure,
not to
sure.
let it really knock you down and feel like, oh gosh, it might take 2 days just to recover mentally from having that diesel engine come back or something like that.
Yeah, I always find it very frustrating that situationally, as companies, sometimes we'll do credits in a way that I think is just absolutely makes it as hard as possible for a salesperson to succeed. Where especially if you're a company that processes all the credits early in the day, right? And so I come in to work and I'm sitting there staring at $6,000 in credits on one day. I'm like, great. So I'm working for free today is something, we hear from the salespeople, right? That all of a sudden, man, I get to be excited about just trying to dig myself out of a hole, not even, something else. So I think there's some things that we can do as managers, as owners, as a team to reconfigure. Is there something special about processing credits early in the morning? Like, why not just do that all at the end of the day? They might see it at the end of the day, but the day is done. They'll go home. They'll spend their time with their family, and when they come in the morning, they'll be over it, right? So, I think there's a number of things we can do to avoid landing on some of those landmines. Because if it's steady or if it's controllable, we can look at credits and just say, hey, in order to have big credits, man, you had to have big sales. That's kind of one way I look at it. It's like you don't get big credits unless you have big sales. So
Sure.
It's kind of a mark of success. When do you think your highest credit month is going to come?
Mm-hmm.
Right, immediately following your biggest
Exactly.
sales
After
month.
your sales month. Yeah.
So I think a lot of salespeople need some of those reminders to help them mentally prepare to say, hey, that's great. You had a record sales month last month. Just so you know, that's likely to lead to a record credit month this month. And the best way to take that on is, you know what? Let's go sell some more. That's a full speed ahead. That's what I can control. And that's what I can do best at. So let's focus on that.
For sure.
Now, focusing on what we can control sounds simple. We talk about it a lot. Everyone knows that's what we need to do. That's where we need to improve. And why we're going to focus on mental health and physical health today is because those are going to be the components that are going to really dictate how likely you are to be successful at keeping your focus, right? So anybody that is in a bad mental state, or anybody that physically isn't doing well, whether it be fatigue or illness or anything like that, your resources are down, your resources are depleted, and your ability to shift your mindset, your ability to battle and fight negativity is diminished. And so you're going to find yourself being consumed by negativity a lot of times instead of being able to get back your focus on control. So mental health is where we're going to start first, and we're going to jump down into physical health as well. So with mental health, the main thing is, looking at the circumstances that you can control and understanding that what you are and where you are is in large part due to what is going on in your mind. And if you're not happy with who you are and where you are and what you are doing, then you need to start focusing on changing what you are putting into your mind, right? So If you're not happy with how you think, you're not happy with where you're at and where your life is headed, then you need to stop and consider mentally, what am I doing to contribute to changing where I'm at and where I'm headed? Um, that's an oversimplification. Obviously, things happen in life that put us in different situations, and some of those are not our fault and are out of our control. That said, how we respond, how we overcome those is largely a factor of what we think in response to those and where we let that take us. So, uh, Rich, what are some things that you like to do to what are some things that are beneficial for you in terms of putting into your mind that you like to think about or you like to consume to put yourself in a positive mental state and have a positive mindset?
I'm thinking of the days when actually I was the one answering the phones, which I don't do much of these days. But a lot of times before I'd pick up on a call, I would in my head like tell myself they're gonna buy, they're gonna buy, they're gonna buy. Repeating it to myself in my mind even before I maybe even said hello.
Okay. Was there so you seemed like you had a good energy and you were aggressive, saying, I'm just relentlessly going to stay positive, I'm going to stay keyed in to the next one's going to happen.
For
what
sure.
what was enabling you to be in that mindset, to maintain that mindset? Do you feel like you had a good night's sleep? Do you feel like you were
Sure. Like,
reading or thinking about things that were beneficial for you as a professional?
okay, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, as far as like what you just mentioned, I have always, always had at least 8 hours of sleep. The only exception to that is when I had a newborn.
Yeah.
The newborn baby was the only time in my life I didn't have 8 hours of sleep. But no, absolutely, being well rested for sure is definitely a
Okay.
huge component.
Yeah, for me, I need to have a state of peace, right? If I feel like everything is going to take care of itself, things are going to go okay. I don't need to be too high. I don't need to be too low. I certainly can sell well when I'm angry, but I can also, that can also lead to, if something goes poorly while I'm in that mindset, it just, it builds on itself as well. So for me, a lot of time it's um, whether it be the music I'm listening to, whether it be the content I'm reading. And I think one thing in particular in this season, and not to go too far off on this tangent, is, you know, maybe even identifying for you what things take you out of that mental mindset. So I love reading about politics. I love engaging in politics. That said, it doesn't always lead to, I mean, I think a lot of people can relate to this, a peaceful mindset, right? Or an optimistic or a positive mindset right now.
Right.
So
Sure.
being wary of things that you enjoy consuming or participating in that don't leave you in the state that you want to be in for selling, right? We need, as salespeople, to be present for our customers. We need to hear their concerns. We need to be attentive to their concerns if we're going to provide them excellent customer service and provide them solutions. And so if you aren't identifying things that kind of take you out or threaten that mindset, that can be problematic. Or at least key into what are the things that shift you back into the right mindset. For me, I want to have a peaceful feeling. I know for other salespeople, they want to be really geeked up and energized.
That's what
I
I
would
was.
not be a I
That's
would
what
not be a heavy metal guy or a
I
rock
was
guy.
geeked up, energized. I was the geeked up, energized. That's why I was thinking back, and I was like, yeah, that's why they're gonna buy. They're gonna buy because I was the pump
Yeah.
them up. I was definitely that kind of energy.
And I'm more on that Zen level. I want to have that meditation, that mindfulness of just leading the customer where they want to go to the best sell. And being able to hear them means quieting my own mind and quieting my own thoughts. So I have a very active mind, and getting it to calm and be peaceful and be focused is a big aspect for me. One of the other things I think right now during the season of Corona is space and routine, right? These are two things that have been very threatened this year. So what have you done to change your routine to give yourself space to think, space to recharge, space to get in the right mentality. And what sort of routine have you started to develop in order to maintain a clear mind and focus on what your objectives are? For me, I've started running, and I hate running. All right, I hate long distance sort of things. That is not what I enjoy. My brother is much more gifted at that. For myself, I would rather play basketball or swim or do different things like that that are a little more engaging for me. But that's not really an option right now. I don't have a pool. I can't play basketball with anybody, so those are out. Rich, what sorts of things have you brought into your routine, or ways that you've been able to find space during this pandemic, if you've been able to do those?
Right. No, I have. I was thinking of something, and it was actually influenced by a salesperson that I was working with out of Idaho, who was telling me that part of her activity to focus and get ready for helping our customers is to take a morning walk immediately after she wakes up in the morning. And I thought, oh, well, that's actually something I could do and might enjoy, because I, like yourself, do not much care for running. And I added it to my kind of routine since like we've all been shut in, you know? So I go out for a morning walk, usually around 7:30, and do like half hour, 45 minutes, and then come back. And it's been really nice.
Yeah, it just creates, I mean, a lot of times it is just a different setting will allow you to refocus and recenter on what you need to. Lastly, before we move into mental health, or sorry, physical health, what you believe about yourself. For some of you, this is important. For others of you, this isn't as much of a challenge. But I tend to find when we see a negative slide with a salesperson, all of a sudden they have a downturn in their numbers or their attitude. Something about what they're believing about their self has changed or been threatened or become a problem. Whether that's, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, to I'm not. Am I really a salesperson? Can I really do this? Or I'm in this. No way I can be the best. So and so is the best salesperson on your team. Whatever it is. And this is one of those things that it sounds really simple, but you know, whatever you're thinking about yourself, you're right in many ways, because you start to take on that thought of who you are. So, you know, you need to be conscious of, are you defining yourself solely by results, or are you really focused on the things you can control, which is your mindset and your efforts, right? And reinforcing those positive mindsets and efforts. And then if you find yourself sliding, you find yourself backsliding, or you find yourself having this struggle of just maintaining a confidence about yourself. You might not be the most confident person in the world. When was the last time that you've made a conscious effort to improve your mental state or perception of yourself? And a lot of times you have to start, we used to say, when you were training or getting licensed in a field, or you were moving into a new field, you have to fake it till you make it. You have to start telling yourself you're on that road, telling yourself you're going to close the next sale in order to put yourself in a position to achieve that. Because many times you can start by putting yourself in the wrong thinking or wrong mindset, and you have no chance of reaching the destination you really want to hit. So start there. Treat that as work. That's not going to come naturally to everybody. Some people, they say, oh, I got that, no problem. Others of you, this needs to be a conscious area of improvement, that you are changing the way you are thinking about yourself, and you're changing your thoughts about what you can achieve and where you can go in your life. So
can I just add something to that really
yeah.
quick? I do see it very often in the field as a negative mindset. The other one I also see is a neutral mindset, in that people who actually are achieving success don't take the time to acknowledge it to themselves that they're actually being successful.
Yeah, and so then when they hit hard times, right, they don't have the positive reserves to say, hey, I know that's not true. I know I'm not a bad salesperson. I know I never sell a warranty. You know, those fake things that we think about ourselves, that if we're maintaining positivity and even giving ourselves that affirmation, then we can overcome some of those hurdles. And sales is, sales is, especially in this industry with the volume we do, the number of interactions we do, it's a challenge for your mental health to not be anxious, to not get frustrated, to not get down, and really wearing that positivity of, hey, I love what I do. I love taking care of people. I love solving their issues whenever I can. I'm disappointed when it doesn't work out or it doesn't happen, but you know what? I'm excited for the next opportunity to come. All right, lastly, physical health, equally important. Eating, sleeping, exercise, those are the big three. Basically, any sort of delayed gratification. Being able to do something less desirable now, whether running, walking, not eating dessert, whatever, not having beer or alcohol, whatever it is. You know, I do the less desirable thing now to gain larger benefits and to avoid less desirable results down the road, right? So what does this have to do with sales? What does this have to do with selling in the auto recycling world? Well, we typically work a 40 to 45 hour week. Some of you might be 50 hours a week. How often do you run out of energy at the end of the day? How often do you start the day off late or sluggish or disorganized? How often do you eat a big lunch and all of a sudden you're less productive and you have a down spell in the afternoon? Well, all three of those things probably happen for all of you to some form or fashion every week. And you think about what that lost time, lost productivity cost you in a week, what that lost time and productivity cost you in a year. For many salespeople, your hourly sales can range anywhere from $200-300 in an hour to some of you are doing $1,000-1,500 in an hour. So losing an hour in a given week has a lot of value. These are areas, fortunately, the way we seem to be designed, the younger you are, the more you tend to be able to get away with being poor in eating, sleeping, and exercise. You tend to have an ability to bounce back and maintain energy that's a little bit disconnected from these three habits. That said, as we get older, these are areas we all have to target for improvement, because these are things that build our reserves and enable us to be more resilient. The better we are at each of these three components, the more we can weather frustration, the more we can weather anxiety, because these are things that all have built-in biological processes that consume stress. I don't know if people realize that. These are things that contribute to taking on and helping our body process those stress hormones and things that we generate throughout our day. So exercise, sleeping, eating are very important to that. So I know for myself, after I tend to be able to put some of these off, especially during busier or stressful times, but I start to see the toll. I start to see the wear and tear come and my frustration increase if I don't get back into balance with these three things within a reasonable amount of time. So you can typically put these off here and there, but if these aren't well-developed habits, you will find yourself struggling to maintain positivity and struggling to transition. You know, it gets harder to leave work at home, or sorry, leave work at work or leave home at home, or move on from a bad warranty claim or something like that if we're not taking care of these things. So Rich, have you seen those sorts of impact, whether it be for yourself or amongst our training teams?
Oh yeah, for sure. And the complaint I usually hear from salespeople is, "Why'd you grab that call? It was right after lunch." You know, they sound like they're half asleep. You know.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's, as much as we would like to say, you know, how much we slept the day before or what we had. I mean, we've seen it, some companies, unfortunately, how much they drank the night before shows up in the morning. You know, I'd love for you guys to be able to live your life and do exactly what you want, however you want. However, you know, work doesn't just start at 8. You know, what we do, what we think, what we consume, and how we spend our time, that's going to impact us, and that's going to show up in the sales numbers. You know, during this coronavirus situation, we've seen some people go through some hard times. A lot of people lose loved ones, maybe connected to coronavirus, maybe not, but not being able to be together, not be able to process those challenges. I think we've seen that effect on maintaining positivity. And so part of our job, as we see it, is we want to see good performance and good numbers. And we understand that we're working with people, and I can't just tell you go out and sell more. That's not going to help you in a lot of circumstances. I need to connect with you, help you work through whatever challenges you're facing that are barriers and obstacles for you to maintain the optimal mindset and attunement to your customers on a given week. So I think this is something that's impactful to everybody. This is not just sales. This could be owners. This could be managers. This could be people in the production department. Our life and our success is dependent on what we believe about ourselves and how we treat ourselves. If we're not in a routine of treating ourselves well, building ourselves up, and aiming for something bigger and better, we're never going to achieve or get to where we're achieving something bigger or better. We don't just get to these great results and moments of success in our careers and our personal lives by ignoring our mental health and our physical health. You might be able to find some shortcuts here and there, but at the end of the day, if you want to build something that lasts, if you want to build something that can maintain you and build a better life, both at work and at home, these are things that anybody can take and contribute into their life and see, I think, their life satisfaction and their overall performance and happiness improve tremendously. So thanks. That's pretty much it for this week. Thanks everybody for joining us and listening along with us. We will have a new added value series coming up for sales training here in the next few weeks. We're going to be picking out some dates for that. And again, we are running out of room on our sales training and sales management calendars. So anybody that needs some tune-up, needs to see some improvement, needs to see more progress made on their sales team, please reach out and let us know. We'd be happy to see if we can fit you in. We expect things won't stay as easy or as well as they have been over the summer as we struggle to continue to get new inventory in the door. It's going to be more and more on you, the salespeople out there, to carry the load, to broker, and to find ways to bring revenue coming in. So wear it with pride, work well as a team, take care of yourself, and keep striving to improve. And we'll achieve amazing things if we keep that mindset going each day when we're coming into work. So Rich, anything else before we adjourn?
Before we close out, I wanted to give a shout out to James for listening and for all the other salespeople that we work with, and keep the feedback coming. We love your interactions with us. So let us know if there's a topic you'd like us to cover, or if you have any other feedback. It's all welcome.
Absolutely. So this is for you guys. So whatever you want to make of it, if we're not doing something that you think we should be, or anything like that, we want to hear any feedback so that we can make this podcast as beneficial and helpful to you all as we can. So reach out to us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or you email me at crcounts@countsbusinessconsulting.com. So thanks for joining us again, everybody. We appreciate your time and wish you all the best. Thanks.
Take care.